Testing, testing. Nice mic, nice headphones. The mic is working. I can see the bars moving. But to be honest, I don't know why I'm wearing these headphones because they're not even plugged in. And that's something I want to talk to you about today. Are you too plugged in? And what do I mean by that is, are you focusing so much about what is trending on, say, Twitter or blog posts or whatever platform you use, YouTube, Reddit? Are you so plugged in that you're jumping around between different technologies because that's what's trending that week or that month? And I think you really need to learn and focus on what's going to help you get to your next step. If that's to get a job, then what companies are you applying to? What technologies are they using? Or are you applying to in-person local companies? What technology are they using? Sometimes I think we get caught up in that buzz of someone with 1 million followers on YouTube or Twitter is saying we must do this and this is what worked for them. And it's great to be aware of that, but it doesn't mean you have to do it. So I thought this video would be quite interesting to talk about what you need to learn, because there is so much to learn. And I think we need to learn what the next step is. And it's great to ask people, great to get that information. You can get that kind of T-shape approach where you're aware of lots of things, but you go specialize in something specific, one or two things. And as you're aware of those things, you know where to look for them to find more information if and when you need to, but you aren't an expert in them just yet, or you may never become an expert in them because it's not something that you needed. There is so much information out there. And like I said, it's good to be aware of many things, but be an expert in a few. And those expertise could change, right? I used to do Java and PHP 7, 10, 12 years ago. And I'm not an expert in those because I haven't used them in so many years. And I think that's the way things happen in technology. You're currently an expert in something which you might not be in 10 years. Do you think that people were using SvelteKit and what other fancy ones, Solid.js and Astro 10 years ago? They didn't exist. And so technology will keep changing all the time. And it's important to continually learn, but not get kind of religiously tied to any technology because they're going to change. I did see when React came out that someone got a React tattoo, which I thought was very brave because it's very permanent. But also technology is going to change and it's still around, it's still being used, and it's still very popular, which is good. But in 5 years, maybe not. There'll be something else taking its place. And so what's consistent in tech is that we're always learning. That's something that will never change. And I don't want to get into a whole open source kind of, rant here, but another thing that will never change is all these tools, technology that you use are open source. And that's something that I always talk about. So we won't talk about it in this video today. I'll be interested to know, how do you learn? How do you know what to learn? That's the really important thing, because I think we all have our own ways of learning. Some people like to read, some people like to watch YouTube videos. Hopefully you all like to actually get hands-on practice because that is the best way to learn. But how do you decide what to learn? I think that's really hard. That's something we probably don't talk about enough. So I'd love for you to share your thoughts below. And while you're doing that, let me give you a moment. That moment's now over, so I want to continue talking, but I look forward to going through your comments. The way I like to do it is I like to see what is going on, like I said, on Twitter and YouTube and Discord communities. But also I like to learn as I need to do things. So for example, I'm using Next.js for the Linktree project. Now we need authentication, so I'll look up NextAuth. I'll do a bit of research and then NextAuth is like the best one to do. So then I'll learn that one. And I'm aware of the other ones. And then I just keep kind of learning things as we go along, and you can always change, right? So we use Cypress for automated testing on the Linktree project, but then we moved to Playwright because I found out that Playwright has some nice new features that we wanted to use, and it's got a really vibrant community and something we wanted to switch to. And again, so I learned Playwright. So I feel I'm better at Playwright now than I am at Cypress, although if you said that kind of a year or 2 years ago, it would have been definitely be the other way around. So let me quickly conclude and wrap up. Let's keep this video nice, short and sweet. I would like to say that be careful who you follow on socials, but you might follow more people, but also be even more careful about what kind of actions you take. Remember, if you're reading a book has been vetted by people who review these. So usually at I would say a higher standard. However, they do get out of date a lot quicker. So by the time you're reading it, the book could be a couple of years out of date and things could have changed. Just bear that in mind. Things like design patterns and architectural things usually stick around a bit longer. But in terms of tooling and libraries and frameworks, they do change quite often. And in terms of Twitter, remember, it's ephemeral. So people put things out there and they know in a week's time no one's really going to look at that content. So take that with a pinch of salt. And people on those platforms usually do try and chase the vanity metrics. So they are kind of trying to go for the engaging content, even if it isn't what they believe in. YouTube, I find, is a really good kind of balance. You've got more up-to-date content, and it's usually been kind of not necessarily vetted or reviewed, but people know it's more evergreen. It's going to stick around for longer. So they try and put more effort into it and try and validate what they're kind of putting out there. And I feel they're less chasing the vanity metrics. So I think YouTube's a really good platform to trust, and the content on there and the content creators, and also with blog posts as well, because again, they're evergreen. They come up on Google and so forth. And if you're unsure, you could always ask in the community. If you've seen something you like, then why not ask in the community and say, I found this, I want to learn this. What do you think? Is it beneficial to me? Is it worth me investing months of my time in learning this technology? And see what people say, right? People have been saying PHP's been dead for the last 10 years. And I still see most of the internet is running on PHP. So be careful what people do say. Anyway, I look forward to geeking out with you in the EddieHub community. You can catch me there every day, and I'm working full time on the open source project Linkfree. So come and geek out with me and join me there. I'll see you there.